It speaks of the plundering of people's wealth by rulers and kings, and there it asks him to send Ali, peace be upon him, to fight the dishonorable and the looters. Remove this seat from the comforters, wash this pulpit from the defiled house of giants, send them away, do not let them fall into the granaries of nothingness. In the Alexander narrative he says, send them to the door of Satan for life, with the seal of Ali, though the message is firm, love for life did not come empty. Similarly, with his clear eye and sharp mind, Abu Bakr is the candle, and Uthman is the light. In his Khosrow and Shirin he also delicately references the Hadith of the Cloak, Hadith al-Kisa, and the family of the Prophet, peace be upon him. In the eulogy of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says, Muhammad, whose creation is dust, a light to the eyes of those who can see, the head and general of the battlefield of loyalty, thousands of praises on his pure soul, the model of the workshop of creation, the general and chief of the prophets, interceding for the helpless, lifting up the humble and the weak, flowers from the garden of the morning, the key to the treasure of God's wealth. It is important to note that the artist, sage, and jurist from Ganja never neglected his wisdom and jurisprudence and always expressed his views with his unique intellect. For example, he considered responsible women superior to irresponsible men, saying, not every man with a woman is honorable. A man is one who is free from pain. Or if you want your children to all be of the same color and your lineage and generation to be preserved from mixing, you should marry a joyful woman, and by this, he condemns polygamy and himself issues the decree, if you want your son to be of one color. Regarding the veil of women, while he is very strict about it, in the case of his wife, Afah, he considers the preservation of the veil one of her main virtues, and he says, her silk shirt was like armor, and the sleeve of her robe was tighter than her shirt's sleeve. If your heart is that of a mother and father, her protection is iron, tighter than iron. Yet, in the Alexander narrative, he depicts a scene where women from the Caucasus did not wear veils, and Alexander had a meeting with their elders. However, when it came to logic, they could not follow it, as they said, the veil should be in the eyes of men, not in the faces and hair of women. You are the king. Do not look with the evil eye at our women. And when Alexander could not prevail through reason, with the help of the philosopher Belinus, he devised a plan to make the women accept the veil. This statement by the poet and the scene he creates is truly astonishing for the 6th century Hijri. If your law is to close the face, in our law the eyes must be closed. If you see the foreigner's face, it is not a crime to look, but a crime to see. And in another stanza, our brides are satisfied with this barrier, they have nothing to do with the bridal chamber, do not cover the faces of these people, instead, cover your own eyes. The one who hides his eyes behind the veil does not see the moon nor the sun. If the king does not accept our harsh words, why should he see our front and back? Our brides are satisfied with this veil, they are untouched by others. The maidens in their chambers are our concern. Of course, Nizami's opinion on the high status of women is reflected in his poetry, such as Khosrow and Shirin, where he creates the character of Shirin, embodying all purity and chastity, as opposed to a young, noble, yet naive prince. Similarly, he created the story of Layla and Majnun, where the woman, Layla, is given a special spiritual position, making Majnun, or Qais, her faithful and devoted follower. If in the first poem his focus was on the woman of his Caucasus, it is unclear what his intention was for the spiritually elevated Layla. Perhaps he created this mysterious and symbolic story due to his mother. His opinion on forgiveness after death is illustrated in Maghzan al-Asrar, where he tells the story of a tyrant king who died and was redeemed in the afterlife through the mercy of those without anyone to protect them. The just one saw the correct judgment, and the picture of oppression was put to sleep. Hafez of Shiraz also accepted this story in the same meter and with the same reasoning, creating a ghazal based on it. The caller from the corner of the tavern last night said that sins are forgiven with wine, the wave is ours. Introduction. From the turn of the neck like the sweet orange, to the silver chin like the rough-skinned tangerine. The last two couplets show that a beautiful line of hair from the nape of the neck, resembling the head of a parrot, existed, and that the person was an older man, as later verses revealed that his silver chin was wrinkled like the skin of a tangerine, indicating his age and old age. Irfan Nizami should be studied in the Mathnawi of Layla and Majnun, in the astonishing tales of the Seven Beauties, and in the story of the prophetic era of Alexander, which ultimately leads us to the city of Utad. In this city, all the people are saints of God. In this city there is no talk of governors, locks, walls, spies, lies, or theft, and all people are equal even in material wealth. We swear by our wealth no one has more wealth than another. And it is here that Alexander realizes that there is a position higher than prophethood. He saw such faith and religious devotion, did not recall the beginning of prophethood. Indeed, such judgments can be found throughout the works of Nizami, as in his first Mathnawi, Makhzan al-Asrar, where he takes Solomon to the desert, where he sees an older man planting the ground with his nails and hands in a land without water. Solomon asks, "O old man, we have irrigated the land and planted seeds. What have we harvested that you in this barren field expect to find something?" The older man responds, "My water now is the sweat of my back, my plow now is my finger." It is this older man who, through the language of Nizami, tells Solomon, "The seed in the trickery of the cunning devil has yielded 700 grains. This refers to the cooperation of demons with Solomon. After studying the verses of Nizami in the Five Treasures and contemplating his stories and thoughts, it becomes clear that Nizami often uses the word old man in a mysterious way, much like Hafez, who also refrains from revealing the secrets of love, especially regarding the old man of the tavern. When necessary, he makes subtle references that, upon closer examination, are fully revealed. For instance, when Alexander's son is seated in his place, Alexander himself refrains, and Nizami, through his son, condemns the rule of the world and its dominion. After describing Alexander's secluded life, he briefly says, "Do not turn away from your way of thinking, you too, O young man, follow your old man." In the meeting of Majnun and Layla, Majnun receives light from Layla and strives to keep it in his heart. When in his heart the ink of his homeland resided, he turned himself into his guardian. Nizami creates a scene where Majnun's tears speak with Layla's glances, and from the beginning to the end of the story, the two lovers never speak. Their love is as if the lips of these two have become a boiling pot, like the mouth of a silent bowl. At the end of this scene, Nizami says that on the day he reached the path of mysticism, he thought he would achieve such a spiritual state without uttering a word and practicing asceticism. Much like Majnun reaching the light of kingship, he immediately repents and says, "Everyone is worthy of a morsel. Some like Majnun are given the bitterness of asceticism, and others like Nizami are given the sweetness of eloquence and speech." The two last verses. These last two verses beautifully depict a line of hair along the woman's chin, reminiscent of a parrot's feathers, and a man of older age. The subsequent verse explicitly states that his chin, likened to silver, the color of a pomegranate's skin, reveals the uneven and wrinkled texture of his skin, a poignant symbol of old age. Nizami's language is not just a tool for communication, but a rich tapestry of metaphor that he weaves to convey deeper meanings. In his Khosrow and Shirin, characters are not mere actors in a story, but symbols of larger themes. The contrast between the spiritual and the physical, for instance, is vividly portrayed through the imagery of a garden where the flowers of wisdom bloom. This recurring motif, like the fading beauty of a flower, reminds us of the impermanence of worldly desires and the importance of spiritual pursuit. Nizami's connection to the divine is woven throughout his work, emphasizing the concept of divine love as the highest form of understanding. He presents the divine not as a distant or inaccessible force but as something intimately tied to the human experience. In Seven Beauties, the journey of the protagonist is not just physical but also spiritual, as he seeks wisdom and enlightenment that transcends the material world. This divine love is a transformative force, capable of leading individuals to higher states of existence and ultimate truth. Nizami's philosophical insights are not confined to a single theme or ideology, but are spread across a range of subjects. His works discuss the nature of time, the soul, and the relationship between fate and free will. In Layla and Majnun, for instance, the story of impossible love can be seen as a commentary on the tensions between human desire and divine will. This eternal struggle forms the basis of many of Nizami's philosophical inquiries, as he explores the boundaries between earthly existence and spiritual fulfillment. One of the most powerful symbols in Nizami's poetry is the garden, which represents both beauty and divine truth. The garden serves as a metaphor for the soul, cultivated through love, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Just as a garden requires careful tending and nurturing to flourish, so too does the human soul need guidance and care to achieve enlightenment. The beauty of the garden, with its various flowers and fragrances, symbolizes the myriad paths of wisdom that lead the soul to the divine. In several of his works, Nizami delves into the qualities of a good leader. His portrayal of King Khosrow and Shirin is a shining example of a ruler who is wise, just, and compassionate. Nizami emphasizes that leadership should be grounded in humility and the pursuit of justice. He contrasts this ideal with the corrupt leaders who prioritize their own desires over the welfare of their people. Through these depictions, Nizami illustrates the importance of moral integrity in positions of power. Nizami's poems are a profound exploration of the journey of the soul, a theme that resonates throughout his work. He emphasizes that true fulfillment is not found in material possessions, but in spiritual awakening. In Seven Beauties, the protagonist's journey through the seven realms of existence is a powerful symbol of the soul's ascent to higher knowledge. Each realm represents a different aspect of life, from physical beauty to intellectual achievement, to divine wisdom. The final realm, the realm of the divine, is the ultimate destination where the soul finds peace and union with the divine essence. The life of a human is a series of constant developments, but the moments in which we find peace often come when we reach inner harmony. It's not always easy to achieve, but this tranquility, more than anything, brings a sense of purpose. People seek a path to escape the world's noise but often fail to see the beauty of silence. Silence isn't an absence, it's the presence of something deeper, only understood through stillness. We are often overwhelmed by the need to act, produce, and achieve. Yet we forget that there is wisdom in simply being and listening to the world without rushing to respond. This balance between doing and being is essential. A person who only does without giving themselves the time to reflect is like a tree that produces fruit without roots. Eventually, the fruit will wither. When we stop momentarily, we find that everything around us speaks to us. The wind, leaves, and stars are all messengers of wisdom. The problem isn't the world outside but our inability to be present in it. The constant noise distracts us, leaving us unaware of the subtle messages the universe is offering. In silence there's a deeper sound, a rhythm that in stillness is found. The world speaks, yet we are blind to all the wisdom it can bind. Not in the rush of fleeting time, but in the pause, the truth we find. The fruits of life are from the root, and through stillness we bear the fruit. The path to inner peace isn't always clear, but it's often found in the simplest moments. Those fleeting instances when time stands still, and we feel connected to everything around us. These moments, as quiet as a leaf's movement or a distant bird's call, remind us of the importance of listening to the world. In these instances, we realize that the world is not speaking to us, but it's up to us to listen. Many people wander through life without ever truly hearing these whispers. They are too focused on the future, always planning, always striving, but never pausing to observe truly. The world's noise fills their ears, leaving no room for the subtle sounds of existence. They do not realize that happiness isn't something that can be found in the future, but exists in the present. We often dream of distant places and times, believing that in those moments, we will find peace. But peace is not in a faraway land. It's here, in the now, in the tranquil corners of our existence. When we learn to quiet our minds and listen deeply, we begin to see the world as it is, a place filled with beauty and wonder ready to be discovered. The key to inner peace is not external change but an internal shift. It's about understanding that the external world often reflects what's inside us. When we change our perception, the world changes with us. This shift is not about denying life's difficulties but learning to find peace. It's about embracing each moment with acceptance, understanding that it is as it is, and understanding that it's okay to feel what we feel no matter how challenging. The world speaks in whispers soft, in moments when our minds take off, not in the rush of days gone by, but in the silence we touch the sky. Peace is not a distant shore, it's here, within, and so much more. In quiet moments we find the key, unlocking what was meant to be. Through storms and struggles we remain, seeking peace with pain. The world reflects what we hold inside. When we listen, we cannot